Hello, everyone. I hope you have been enjoying the Growth Mindset Parenting Summit. Today is the last day, and we have a very special interview for you. I will be interviewing my husband, Proeun Doeun, about fatherhood. So let's just dive right in. Could you please share a little bit about where you were born?
I was born in the Dang Mountains of Cambodia, and I came from a village about 150 people.
And where was your father when you were born?
I was born during the Civil War, the Khmer Civil War, and my father was a prisoner of war during that time, so he wasn't around for my birth. And my uncles stepped up then and helped out and supported my mom during that time.
And these were your father's younger brothers, correct?
Correct.
Yes. And so he did end up getting out. And I have to tell you, it's like the story of how he got out is a little bit of like the stuff of legends, or at least family legends. But when he got out, he had a decision that he had to make. And what was that?
Well, when my father escaped the prisoner of war camp, he had a choice to make. He had head for the borders of Thailand or head back to the village to look for your wife and kids. And a lot of men chose to head for the borders for safety.
Yeah.
And you don't really blame them because you don't really know if they're there or not. As a risk you have to that you have to make. And it's just a quick decision. My father, his brother, and his cousin, we're all from the same village, and they decided to go back. My father decided that he would rather die with his family than leave them behind, and he chose to go back for us.
Yeah. And I mean, that is just such a powerful story, one that has really endeared your parents to me, that concept of you would rather die with your kids than live without them. And that's not a decision that very many people have to make in today's world. But what did that mean for you growing up to have that as an example, to know that that was in your background?
Well, my father is my number one role model, still today. My uncles, his brothers, my uncles that were there supporting my mom during my father's imprisonment, they are also my, some people that I look up to now, and that's what they were always there for me throughout my childhood, even in America. And there are people who I idolize and try to model myself after, and that's in a lot of the way that they live life, and the way that they raise their families and their kids. That sticks with me today.
And so fatherhood was high on your list of life goals.
Yes, that's right. I've always wanted to be a father, even when at a young age. That's something on my list. Everything else will be extra. Being a father was number one. And I thought that it'd be easy.
Yeah, we'll talk more about that later. But to describe that moment when you first became a father, how was that?
When we had our first born son, and it wasn't a choice. It was just raw emotion, and all the things that my parents did for me, my uncles, everybody that helped me along the way, that all came rushing back, and that just my realization of me being a father, and that there's somebody more important than I am, than someone that's going to be my extension, my life, my someone that I have to care for, and some that I would, I love more than myself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, it's different kind of love than when you have your spouse, because it's just this being is totally dependent on you. So what were some of the things that surprised you about fatherhood?
well, it's harder than it looked growing up. I mean,
Yeah.
my folks, my parents and my family, my extended my uncles,
Yeah.
they look easy. Well, they they are simple people. They
Yeah.
not, everything is the decisions are made. They made it look easy, but
Uh-huh.
I mean, there were some people that it wasn't raising kids isn't really easy. There's no true manual on that or
Yeah.
classes on it really, but that's a little bit different today than it was before.
Yeah, I know that's one of the things that came up in one of the previous interviews with Maureen Campion, where she said nobody gives you an instruction book when they hand you a baby. So it is definitely a learning process. So through the process, now we have 9 kids, 6 girls and 3 boys, and our oldest is 18 and our youngest is 1. So we've been doing this for a while. And so as you've kind of run through this process of growing with your kids, and as we've added more children to the family, how have you kind of come to like embrace and define your role as a father?
Well, when you start out, you're single,
Uh-huh.
and all you have is yourself to think about for the most part.
Yes.
You're hungry, you just think, oh, I'll just make something to eat or I'll buy something for yourself. You think about yourself. Now,
Right.
then when I got married, when you're hungry, you think about yourself and you think about your spouse or your wife.
Yeah.
Maybe she may want some of this. Call her up, ask her if she wants anything, need anything
Yeah.
on the way home. And now when you have kids, that's even, it magnifies. It's exponentially true. Because when you're cooking for a whole bunch of people. When you're making life decisions, you're making it. They all have to be considered in the process.
Right.
Same thing with like work schedule and everything else. So it is a lot more complicated than it looked when you compare it to when you were single. So
yeah. And so, but what are some of the positives? Like, how has it made you feel to be that father that you always wanted to be?
Knowing that there are these beings that are a lot more important than you. They're going to be your legacy.
Yeah.
They're going to be your everything. And it feels good. It feels you have a bigger role, an important role as a person, as a father.
Yeah.
And being the father figure, being the head of the household or co-head of the household. It's magnified. It's more important. So with especially more kids.
Yeah. I think a lot of people are like searching for that purpose in life, but if you're a parent, it's kind of easy to find the purpose in life. It's, raising your kids and making sure that they're successful. So let's talk about daughters and sons. Is there a difference in raising them?
Well, starting out, I thought, being a young man when I was sick and dream of being a father, I thought I'm going to be that father that's going to treat my daughters and my sons or any of them the same way, equal. That turned out to be not true today because I try to be tough on my kids, prepare them for the world, especially my boys. Tough on my boys. I try to be tough on my girls as well. But the truth is, I'm tough on my boys, and my girls are more protective of my girls. Though I feel like it wasn't a conscious decision; it was just a natural process of parenting, knowing that the world, the way things are, where you look at it out there, it's stacked against young ladies, the way they have it out there, and I am more protective of girls.
Right. And so, can you talk a little bit about intention versus impact?
Intention versus impact. This is a concept I stumbled at work. Being an instructor and the supervisor and the part of management. They gave us we were required to attend a class on racial and discrimination type of training, and the concept of intent versus impact came up, and it really opened my eyes for many things, because I believe that it can be applied to a lot of things, and in this case, parenting. And intent, no matter how good or bad it is, there will be impact towards the recipient, or the recipient of the situation. One example would be, let's say, as a father, I work many hours. My intent is to put our family in a better situation, or take care of your family financially, and to help our kids. But the impact could be not being there for your kids, perhaps missing a recital, or just not being there emotionally or physically.
Right.
So that would be impact. And intent is important. Understanding and valuing the intent is important, but the impact, I believe, is more important, because at the end of the day, it's about the kids, and about the actual impact of your decision or mistakes.
Yeah. So, it's interesting that you said that you learned that at a class at work, because we had mentioned that nobody gives you a training manual when you're sent home with a child, but even as you grow and your kids get older, it seems like more and more issues come up. I remember someone telling me when I was a young mother with just little children that your teenage children need you even more, if not more, than the young children. And I didn't believe them. I thought, oh, if I just get through this stage, I'll be fine. But but that definitely has been the case, that we have found that our teenagers do continue to rely on us and need us. And so what type of continuing ed practices do you have for your parenting to help support you as you continue to grow?
Well, first of all, your biggest learning opportunities are actual hands-on raising your kids. Learning from your mistakes, learning from your successes, but learning as you go. But you have to be present for that. Now, as a trainer for many years, an instructor, I believe it's important to be present for you to be successful at learning, to be successful at what you do. And in this case, it's parenting. And how do you do that? You have to be intentional. You have to be proactive. You want to be present. And by putting yourself in a situation where you're learning, by putting yourself in a situation where you're out there trying to utilize more tools, it forces you to be present. It forces you to be present, and that will allow you to be more available to your kids, be a better parent.
Yeah, so that actually segues really well. So you're basically like, as you're going, you're learning from your life path. So you're like basically have a mindset of growth and education.
Yes. Yes, that makes you better prepared to be a parent and be a better parent in the process. That's two separate things.
Right.
And by doing that, you're going to be more available.
Right. And so another topic that came up a lot in this summit with other speakers is self-care and how being able to take care of ourselves is important. And I think that that's something that fathers don't get a chance to talk about very much. So what does self-care look like for you, and how do you make sure that you find time for
it? Now, with the way things are in our society today, generally fathers, you have both parents working, you have fathers that are working, and you have sometimes just single moms that are working. That's hard.
Yeah.
And in order for you to, in order for you to be present, you got to find opportunities to get better. Look for tools. Look for read books. Right.
Yeah.
Learn from your neighbors. Learn from your siblings, your parents, your experience, and look for ways to get more education. Look for ways to get more tools, whether it's on the internet or courses, your local community.
Yeah.
And yeah, just look for opportunities to learn.
Yeah, I've always been someone that a huge part of my self-care routine is reading and looking for opportunities to learn more. That's something that really fulfills me. So it sounds like that's kind of the case with you too.
Yeah, learning's important. Learn for me, no matter what it is in this situation, it's parenting, just looking for opportunities to be better.
Yeah.
And again, that I always say, parenting is a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
But you also want to be, understand that parenting, being in the spirit of parenting is important as well.
Right.
Those are two separate things, but together you can do some things.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. And so is there anything else that you would like to add?
Well, for me as a father, I want to share with other fathers as well, that there are resources out there, tools and places that you can go to get better. We established esoteric parenting, and then there's the summit that's coming up in July.
June.
Or June, sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, we discovered as we were planning this growth mindset parenting summit that there was a real need for resources for fathers in particular. And so we decided that we were going to do a focused summit in June for fathers. So that will be a 7-day summit. So definitely sign up for that and keep a lookout for that. And Proeun and I both blog at Esoteric Parenting in an effort to provide those tools and resources for parents who are looking for continuing ed opportunities and tips on self-care and things like that. So anything you'd like to say to the fathers out there watching?
Yeah, don't be afraid to look for or ask for help or look for help. I know that's a lot of a lot of times we're kind of scared, and there's some, you know, scared to ask for help, and even you know, there's a little stubbornness and a little, you know, you have to swallow your pride a little bit, and just reach out for help. There are resources out there, and don't be afraid to share with others. You know, and share with others, because your kids are important, and the reason why you're doing this is important, and they're you can get better at it. We learn. If you look at other, you know, jobs or skills, you go to places to learn. You read a book, you look it up on the internet, you take a class. Why don't we do that for parenting?
Yeah.
You know, a lot of us don't do that for parenting. There's not a lot of that going on, and it's out there. That's something that we want to have available for folks to not just help parents, but empower them to help their kids as well.
Right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for joining us on this 21-day summit. Special thank you to those of you who have watched every single episode. And we will be back again in June with the Father Summit, and in 2024 with the second annual Growth Mindset Parenting Summit. In the meantime, check us out on esotericparenting.com. Thank you very much. Have a great day.